But you've got Martinez, who is not an outfielder, who is
Right.
really a DH.
Right.
And we've talked about sending him over to the American League. So I told you we would talk trades tonight. Reality fantasy. Here's a reality trade. You're
Right.
the Cardinals. You can offer Martinez. Who in the American League do you go knocking on their door to say, "Hey, I've got a good bat, but he's really a DH. Do you need him?"
Yeah, that's a great question, and
I mean, there's some teams I guess you could knock out right to start with. You can knock the Yankees. Well, do you knock the Yankees out? Unless you're talking about a minor league pitcher, I
right.
can't see the Yankees, Red Sox, or Astros going after that bat.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here watching them. How about the Indians?
That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, what? So what do you ask for Jose Martinez if you're the Indians? I mean, I wouldn't imagine him alone would get you a Bauer or one of the elite guys. What do you think? I mean,
Would it get you, let's say, the kid that's pitching tonight?
I doubt it. I'd say
Bieber.
if I'm Cleveland, Bieber's probably is my number one keeper.
How about the rookie pitcher, the right-hander that just came up?
Well, Rodriguez, is that what it is?
No, Plesac.
Oh, please. Yeah, I mean, it has to be part of the package, right? Because I would value Jose Martinez more. But that would definitely be a good start point. I think that, he's not an overpowering pitcher, so his ceiling is limited. But he can help you. He definitely can go in there and kind of be a middle of the rotation guy that can solidify things and give you innings. So I think that would be a good start point. I think if you pair that up with maybe a minor league guy, a guy who's a double or triple A, one of their Tristan McKenzie or, one of those type of guys, that might be a good deal.
Tristan McKenzie's a great talent. I really,
Yeah.
I could see Cleveland parting with Plesac before they would McKenzie, but if they need that bat. Now, another team we've talked about. What kind of players do you think the Padres are in 2019?
Oh, if you so what kind of players? I think that they are a year away.
Do you think they will try to add players, or do you think they might try to trade players away?
I think it would behoove them to hold tight.
Okay, and we know an outfielder they've got on their team that you and I just absolutely are in love with.
So let me read you some. I know you were out running tonight, so let me read you some things I talked about on the Padres tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was talking about youth movement, right, and just trends. So I found this article, and basically it talked about the youngest by the league opening day of this year. And what I very quickly found was Atlanta and San Diego had this repeating pattern of having the youngest players in each league all the way down to high A, okay? So I'm going to read you some names. I'm going to tell you where they were. Again, this is from the beginning of the year, Arnie. Mm-hmm. So some of these guys aren't in the same leagues, but you'll recognize the names. So I'll just give you San Diego. So Fernando Tatis Jr. Is 20.2 years old. He's the youngest player in the National League, okay? And
potentially the best shortstop in the National League. I mean,
yeah,
arguably.
Absolutely. And I don't have Chris Paddock in front of me. I apologize for that. I thought I did, but he wasn't on that list. It was a weird list. Vlad Jr. wasn't on there. I think it was something to do with injuries or whatever. But anyway, neither here nor there. So you go to AAA with the Padres. Josh Naylor at 21.8 was tied for the third youngest player in the Pacific Coast League last year. He was tied with Luis Urias, and Logan Allen was the sixth youngest player in the PCL. So here you have all these guys that are playing above their age limits or below their age limits, and they're playing against that better competition. What that's going to mean is when they get up to the majors, they're going to be poised. So you can go all the way down, double A, they have 20.1, the youngest, 20.2, the second youngest, 20.4, the third youngest. You're talking about two pitchers, and they have a third baseman who's playing in double A at 20.4 years old. and his name's Hudson Potts. So the reason why I say this is they're doing this for a reason, Arn. They want these kids to come up, and they want them to be ahead of the curve in their development cycle, so that when the rest of the cavalry comes up, they have some leadership from within, right?
Right.
So it really is, and Atlanta's doing the same thing. It's really impressive if you look at those two organizations. So yeah, if I'm San Diego, I don't touch a thing.
And you let it come when it comes. You know, Mackenzie Gore, who I know you're familiar with. Mackenzie Gore is one of my North Carolina boys.
Right.
He is an incredible talent, one of their best, minor league left-handed pitchers. He's one of the best left-handed pitchers in the minor leagues, period.
Right.
But San Diego has him as well, and he just graduated from high school last year. Okay? So you're talking about a 19-year-old who is probably going to be at AAA next year, and is he that far away from the major leagues?
Yep, and that's the thing. You get these kids up, you get them acclimated quickly. The sky's the limit with these guys. So I will say this, Arn. If I'm the Padres and someone comes to me, and this is a scenario in which I'd make a trade, okay? Because at the moment, they have a gluttony of riches in the outfield. If you can trade not one of your guys who you view as a keeper, is one of your best three outfielders, but if you can flip Hunter Renfroe, a Manny Margot, hell, even a Will Myers, do it.
Renfroe's prime for that right now, don't you think? I mean,
killing the ball.
That's the most value. Will Myers, I wouldn't give a nickel for him right now. I mean, he's just not. He's got that big contract, and he's just not producing. But great team. I tell you another team that falls in two other teams, I think, and you've talked about those two in the National League. How about the Rays and the White Sox in the American League? I mean, similar models, right? Young players. They've stockpiled them. I've watched the White Sox high A team now for 2 straight years. I'm telling you, those guys can play ball, and they're playing together as teammates. Luis Robert got called up to Double A. I frankly think he could play Major League Baseball right now, okay? They won't call him up, but I think he could. He'll be up next year. He'll be in that outfield with Jimenez next year.
Yeah.
And that guy can play. I mean, that bat can hit. And then you got the Rays with the same type of model. And so I think those 4 teams are doing it right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And let me tell you something. The pick of the draft last night was made by the White Sox. Vaughn.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kid. I mean, he's going to be right there in line with the rest of that group when they're ready to play. Vaughn will be up there with them. So, the kid out of Cal, Andrew Vaughn, I think he could have easily been the number 1 pick. I think the timing works out well, getting that college bat to go with those guys. I'll tell you, what do you think of this Lucas Giolito guy? Is this real? Is this sustainable?
I tell you, if you look at what he's done, he's made some major changes, Chappy. Was it 3 years ago? He was with the Nats. He was the number.
Terrible.
In minor leagues, he was the number 1 prospect. Number 1 pitching prospect in all of minor league baseball, Lucas Giolito. I guess you can remember that. And then they call him up last year. God, he couldn't get you and me out with a wiffle ball, Yeah. And but what I've read about him is he's gotten away. He threw his curveball a lot last year. This year he's just highlighting it. He's gone more to his changeup, and he's using his changeup and his fastball, and there's like a 9 to 10 mile per hour differential in the 2 pitches. And so I think that explains the turnaround. Now, is it sustainable? Every time he pitches, I think no. I added him in a league like the 2nd week of the year, 3rd week of the year, And I keep thinking, okay, he'll be the guy I cut. But I keep holding on to him because 2 or 3 starts ago, the kid throws the shutout, And last time out, he went 7 1/3 shutout ball. So I think he's for real. I really do.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, it's pretty impressive what he's done, and
And what a staff.
It speaks to hard work, right?
Yeah, and what a staff. You get Kopak back later this year. You get Dylan Cease up. Those guys can throw. And we've already talked about their batters. I mean, I think the White Sox are 2 years away. Okay, whereas I agree with you on the Padres. One, I think the White Sox are 2 years away. And in 2 years, that division can be theirs.
I think it all depends on Kopak and Cease. They need those guys. If you throw those guys in there, and they're able to be, three aces. You put Giolito, Kopak, and Cease, and the three aces there. 1, 2, 3. Boy, that makes you awful darn good.
No doubt. And then I mean I've seen them. Their batters at the minor league level. Their second baseman at high A. I played in the College World Series last year. He never strikes out. He reminds me of Altuve, size-wise. And then you got these boppers coming up. I don't know. I think the White Sox are a sleeper of the four, but their team certainly I'm looking out for. And then there's always Tampa. I mean, they just do it every year. We talked about the trades they make and the young players they pick up. And Austin Meadows, wow. I mean, he's a top 10 MVP candidate, don't you think?
That's a felony. That is a felony. The Pirates couldn't use him, could they?
Yeah.
I mean, an absolute felony. Neil Huntington should be fired for that move.
I mean, the thing is,
the sad part is, Arnie, the fans of Pittsburgh were calling for it because he sat on his thumbs year after year after year. But the fact of the matter is, you don't make that deal with one of those players. I wouldn't trade Chris Archer for St. Bass straight up.
And certainly
St. Bass is going to be a better player.
And certainly not for Glass now.
Right.
And then throw in Meadows.
Are you flipping kidding me?
Here's the thing I don't get about that trade. You knew you were losing McCutchen. Okay, you knew he was gone. And he was the roadblock to Meadows last year. So it was a paved street.
McCutchen was already gone.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he's gone. So he was a block. Now that's gone. Now Dickerson's hurt. I mean, you just knew he was going to get hurt, right? I mean, he's just, oh, come on. And to trade him, because when he played last year, Meadows in Pittsburgh, he looked good.
Yeah.
And I mean, tell me the last time Chris Archer really looked good. Just saying.
I don't know that I can.
And there's always the talk with Archer throwing that slider so many times. What pitch is his elbow going to go out?
Yeah,
I just know. We could talk. We could beat this one up all night. But I totally agree. That's one of the poorest trades. I mean, for example, the year that the Cubs traded away Glaber and all these rookies, but they did win the World Series, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you can justify that trade because without Chapman and some others, they don't get to the World Series. They probably don't win the World Series, but they did. But Pittsburgh, I mean, it's not like they were going to win the World Series this year with the Tampa Bay former ace, Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and the only thing that's keeping them going is they keep drafting well. So, I mean, they've kind of replenished. They've got, their farm system's kind of loaded. But fact of the matter is you're talking about, an MVP caliber player that would be hitting right in the middle of that line. He's just what the Pirates would need. You're talking about a 3-hitter in the Pirates lineup. And it just kind of cements everything with Marte and Polanco and Bell and Reynolds. And, I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that happened. But I mean, the other part of that is player development, right? So Glasnow never really did much of anything in Pittsburgh. He couldn't repeat his delivery. Like I've told you many times, I saw him pitch down here a number of times. And he always looked very average, and his numbers were always very mediocre. So, it's all about how you get taught, too,
That's right. I want to give you a lineup, Chappy.
Okay.
And as I give you these players, I want you to rank them. Are they a top 10% at their position? Are they a top 20% at their position? You follow me?
Gotcha.
All right. Max Kepler.
Yeah, I mean he's been hot.
rank him in a percentage. Would you put him in the top third of outfielders?
I'd say it's about